Okay, right. Hi there. I'm Bruno Postal. I'm a free software developer. I'm also a recovering architect, and I work on a tool called, if I can share my screen, if I can figure out how to do that. Share my screen. Is that screen sharing working?
Not yet.
No,
You might have to retry it.
There we go, entire screen share. Okay, that seems to be working. I'll start with the slides. This is going to be a demonstration rather than a slideshow, but I've got 3 slides here. As I say, my name's Bruno Postal. I'm going to be showing you Git for designers in architecture, engineering, and construction. That's the name of the talk. And I'm going to be using the BlenderBIM add-on. So a BlenderBIM add-on is created by Dion Molt, and it's Dion will be demonstrating it later today, so I really don't want to go into too many details about as to exactly how it works. I'll show you some, well, you'll be seeing lots of demonstrations in a bit. So I need to show you some acronyms first. So AEC is architecture, engineering, and construction. That's the sector that we're all working in. So that includes structural engineers, quantity surveyors. It includes people working for building companies or all sorts of related things. Sometimes it's AECO. I don't know what the O stands for. BIM is building information modeling. Now, BIM is basically a way of designing buildings. So we design buildings in 3D using and it's not really a mesh-based modeling. You model walls and you model doors and you model all the elements that make up a building. Those and what we do is we layer them, we connect them all together, we give them relationships. So we say that this part is made out of this material. It needs to be installed before this other part. And what happens then is the software can allow us to do create drawings from that 3D model, or we can do pricing, or we can do scheduling. Now, now there's one software standard for BIM, which is called IFC. Now, IFC is it's an open standard. It's a text-based standard. And that supports everything that you might want to do with BIM in the AEC industry. Now, the great thing about BlenderBIM is a native IFC editor. So all the other tools that use IFC, and it's basically all the tools in the industry, they either import and convert an IFC model into their own proprietary format, and then they export back to IFC. And what happens there is you get enormous amounts of data loss. Now, BlenderBIM is the first of a new kind of tool, a new class of tool, which is a native IFC editor. So BlenderBIM will open an IFC file and display it. If we make any changes, then only those changes are written back to the original file. The rest of the file is identical on a line-by-line basis. What that means is that we can because it's a line-based format, it's actually quite suitable for version control systems like Git. So this is Blender, so normal stock Blender, but it's got the BlenderBIM add-on added, and which puts whole new bits of user interface here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the basic functionality, which is to clone a Git repository. So put in the URL, create a local folder, put it in here. Oops, not in videos. Put it in buildings. Create a folder. Creative freedom. Just spell that right. Accept that, and now clone the repository. So what this is doing is it's downloading the Git repository, and then it's opening the first IFC file that it finds in the repository. So this is a test project that created well, this was actually a real building project, but it's no longer a real building project, so I'm using it as a demonstration. If I refresh the Git list, well, what you see here is there's a Git changelog. You can see there's been a whole series of things happened here. If I click this button here, it can tell you what elements have changed between the current, the latest view, which is the head here, and any older versions. So as you can see, all these doors and lots of furniture changed here. If I click this button here, it will switch to the earlier revision. Yeah, and then you can view changes between there and any other later revision. So you can see that these red items were deleted, the blue items were modified, well, you'll only see green items if you're looking back in time. A green item is a new item, so here's switching back to the latest model here. So what I'm going to do is just to show you how BlenderBIM works, just quickly. So if I can move a window and regenerate the wall. I have to have the wall tool enabled. Regenerate the wall, and it recreates the opening in the wall for the new window position. If I save that. The Git interface now can see that something's been saved to disk, but it hasn't been committed to the repository. So if I can commit that, I can say move the wall. I don't want to create a branch. I'm just going to commit that as a change. And you can see now that this has been added to the revision list. If I look at the previous revision and look at changes, you can see that that this wall and the adjacent two walls and the window have all changed. Refresh that here. Now alternatively, I can go back in time here, and I can, if I pick this wall, I can add a add a window here. So I put a window in this bathroom. I can save that. Now notice I've saved this on an earlier revision. So if I need to commit this, I have to create a branch. I'll spell that correctly. So now I've created a conflict here in the main branch of this model. I've moved a window, and on this window branch, I've added a window. So if I switch back to the main, you'll see that this window will vanish, and the other window that's moved is there. But what I can do now is we have because IFC is this great line-based file format, I can do a full three-way merge. So the three-way merge looks at it goes back to the forking point, and it looks what has been modified, deleted, or new in both branches, and it will merge them together. So anything that's new in both branches will both be added. Anything that's been modified in either branch will be modified in the result, and anything that's been deleted in either branch will be in the result. So if I click on this button here, which is an experimental icon, but it's been there for a year now, so there you go. I've merged. So this wall here has previously had one window, and then in another branch it has two windows, and in the first branch the window was moved, but we can actually merge that together without any kind of conflict. So let's go quickly on. So if I look at if I go back to so this GitHub page where I got these files, you can see that there are some pull requests. So let's have a look. So here we go. Somebody's added a window. So Max has added a window. Now I can't do the merge in GitHub. I have to do it within BlenderBIM. So if I take his Git URL, just check that was what I did. Yes. I can scroll down here and I can create a, add a new remote, Max, add a remote, and then if I fetch from that remote, and then, so I'm still looking at the main branch here, but you can see that there's Max's branches are now imported as remote branches in my repository. And you can see that Max has added a window. He's also modified that wall. So, so let's have a look. Let's see what he's done. So let's try merging Max's branch. So he's also added a window. So we've got, so I've modified this wall in various branches. Max has modified the wall in another branch. We can merge all three branches together. Let's see what else. We've got some more fun. So if I now, set my remote to origin and push it, and let's look at GitHub. Let's reload that page. So you can see that I have merged it. So GitHub has basically closed the pull request because I've merged it. And there's now only 5 pull requests. So let's have a look here. So here's another one from Dirk. So I put out a call a couple of days ago for some various people who use BlenderBIM to create some pull requests for me based on this model. I don't want to resolve conflicts. I just want to, there we go. Let's copy his Git URL. Let's go back to BlenderBIM. And that's Dirk. So let's add a remote. Okay, didn't like that. Didn't like HTTPS. Let's have a look. Not quite sure what's going on there. There's a git config file. I was going to do this without any kind of command line usage. For some reason, there's a git config lock file there. I don't know why. So, so let's add that remote. Let's fetch Dirk's remote. I'm still on the main branch of the head. If I look, I can see that Dirk's remote is there. What he's changed, if I look at he's changed this kitchen table here. In fact, it'd be easier if I go back to where he's forked from. So if I go back in time to the branching point, and then look at, hello? Yeah. Sorry, refresh. Switch back there. Yeah, for some reason I've lost that branch. So it always goes wrong when you're trying to demo live.
This is the fun part.
Yeah, this is the fun part. Yeah. So let's fetch that again. So there we go. Here's Dirk's branch. Let's just merge Dirk's branch. Now, what he's done is he's modified. If I look from the, look what's changed. He's modified this table, and what he's done, because BIM is this it's not just geometry, but it's also data. So if we look here, he's changed this he's changed his table, and he's added what's called a p-set. So so previously I just modeled it. It was modeled as a dumb table that was basically geometry. But he's had this p-set that says it's got 4 chairs, and that's very useful when you're later on you're building schedules of the building and you want to know how many chairs and how many people can be occupied in the building. Let's so let's see. Let's grab some more pull requests here. I'm not running out of time, so yeah. So this is by Molt. So Molt is the main developer of BlenderBIM. So he's so let's grab some of that code. There's the link there. I'm still in the main branch. That's fine. I want to paste the URL here. Molt. Let's added a remote. Let's go to Molt's branch and fetch it. Now, if I can look here, there's Molt's branch. I might as well. I'll just merge it. So let's see. The BlenderBIM BlenderBIM logo is basically a rabbit. So Molt's added some rabbits. Or DN rather has added some rabbits. So so here we go. So a bit of, these aren't real rabbits, they're furniture rabbits, so no rabbits were harmed. Let's have a look. Let's see if we've got any more pull requests here. I'll try and do all of them. Oh no, that's Molt's version. So here's an extension. This is by Cohen. So as you can see from, he actually uploaded a screenshot, which is very nice, of what the changes that he's made. So if I now go back to here, I have another remote here. So select Cohen, fetch all his changes, which is quite quick, as you can see. Now, but I think his extension's out there. So if I go to oh, there's two branches there. Let's see what happens. We'll pick one of them. There you go. He's added an extension. So at this point, I can, if I go back to my, sorry, I'm the working branches main. So if I push that back, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, I want to push to origin. Okay, so there's obviously a so now if I go back here, there should now be just a couple of pull requests left. So here we go. So here's one. Try and do all of them before we run out of time. So here's go. This is Nate. Nat, is that Nat or Nate? It's an Italian name. So to grab this Git repository. I had another remote there. And then if I go back to here, fetch it. Then so I'm still in the main branch here. So let's see. So as far as I can tell, he's added a monkey. So I don't know where, but we'll find out. Let's merge it. There you go. So it's he's added a Blender monkey. as an IFC alarm. So this is a security alarm, which is quite nice. So we've got one more pull request here. So so this is by Ryan Schultz. So Ryan is quite interesting. Ryan has an architecture firm in Wisconsin where called Opening Design, which you can look up. And pretty much nearly all of his work is shared online on a Git repository. He's basically working in an open way, pretty much the way we do free software. So if I pull in his code here, his URL, go back to BlenderBIM here, add yet another remote. So I've now got half a dozen remotes here. If I pick Ryan there, fetch Ryan's repository, which is very quick. I'm still in the main branch here. I can pick Ryan's branch. I mean, let's look at what he's done. So as you can see, Ryan started off with the original building. So there's no monkeys, no rabbits, no anything like that. And he's added some landscape and some external features, which is quite nice. He's an architect after all. So if I switch back to my main branch, I can see if I can merge that. So I'm running out of pull requests here. So so if anyone's got any questions lined up, that'd be good.
Yeah,
so
I can.
I can. While we're waiting for that to merge, which won't take too long, I don't think.
Yes, so someone asked, what are some real life examples of how this process comes in handy for you?
So as I said, I'm a recovering architect, so I'm not a practicing architect. I have worked as an architect in the past. The practical examples are that quite often multiple people and multiple people in different companies are working on the same building. The way it works in the industry is that one person creates a model for their particular skill. So the architect creates a model, and then if other people are using different software to them, so the structural engineer or the services engineer are using different software, then the architect will export a view of their model, probably as IFC, and then the other people working on the project will then load that as a reference overlay, sort of like a background layer, and then they'll try and do their stuff on top. But there's no and they'll create their own information, and they'll export this overlay that other people in the project will be able to look at, but they won't be able to modify. So with working like this, we can work just like how we work with free software. Is that we can say, here's the model, and if somebody sees something that's wrong, they can change it. They can send in a pull request, and say the architect who created the model might go, yeah, actually that door really does need to move, and they can just accept it. And this is a way of working that is really not traditional in the building industry. But being somebody who's been in this free software world for many years and the building industry, it's something. It's about time that these working practices actually happened in the building industry. So that's a little little rant from me. But there you go. Any other questions?
Yeah. There's just another one there. Does it account for floor and height differences?
Yes. So the IFC's got a very elaborate system of locations, so you can georeference everything. You can model multiple floor buildings. There's and when you generate drawings, it will generate drawings per floor. It will identify the number of stories is already in the file. So when you generate drawings of each floor, then the software already knows where the floors are. Any other? I mean, while I'm talking, if there's any other questions, I've created there's another repository here with a couple of other things. I might as well merge them while we're talking. So in GitLab, so I've done everything here on GitHub, But actually, because this is Git and it's distributed, I can have remotes from multiple services. So if I go to GitLab and I fetch from remote, and if you look in here, there's some framing. So that I created this when I thought that I wasn't going to get any pull requests. So here's a bit of a roof for this building. So go on. Sorry, any more questions? I kind of went off on one there.
No, you're okay. We don't have any more questions at the minute, but if anyone does, feel free to drop them in the Etherpad.
Yeah. So I put this is something that this kind of merging, because we're a full three-way merging, is something we can do with these IFC files, and it's partly because of the file format kind of lets us do it. It was never designed it was never intentionally designed into the file format. I mean, IFC is a 30-year-old standard, so it's just kind of unexpected that we're able to do this, but it works very well and it's very reliable. Apart from obviously it didn't work here entirely perfectly, but the actual merging is very good. So if anyone wants to talk to me about how they might implement this in other software, then they're welcome to try. Ask me. I'm easy to find, Bruno Postal.
Another question just came in there for you.
Yep.
Are there any common mistakes or errors you see using this process?
Yeah. So if an object's been deleted in both branches and I merge, then that's fine. It'll be deleted in the result. If an object's been modified in both branches, then quite often we can merge it, even though it's on the same line of text, because IFC is so structured. There's an IFC wall always has the same number of elements. Same number of attributes. So if the name, for example, has been changed in one branch and the description has been changed in another branch, or the representation, which is the geometric shape, has been changed in another branch, then we can always merge that, even though it's the IFC wall is actually just one line in the text file. But if you're both trying to change the name of an object, then that will fail. The merge will fail, and the way to resolve that is to give both objects the same name, or to delete both objects before merging.
Yeah, and we just have another one there. How popular is this process in the architecture, engineering, construction industry currently?
It's not popular at all at the moment. Everybody works in silos. Nobody shares their data. There's very little of this kind of working practice, apart from people like Ryan, who I mentioned earlier, who's doing this in his own practice. So Ryan works with other architects in America and in Europe and in Brazil, I believe, all working on the same projects. So I think it's a good way of working, and there'll be more of it in the future. Here's another merge. So this is my last pull request. Oops, there we go. So it's a bit of a we call this kind of architecture ransom note architecture. It's a definite style. Okay, if we don't have any more questions.
Sorry, someone's just typing one there. I'm just waiting for it to complete.
So I'd just like to say that Dion Molt, who's the developer of BlenderBIM, he's going to do another presentation later today. So if you want to see more of the actual features other than this Git process, then Dion will show you this afternoon in a few hours' time.
So the last question there is, what do you envision for this way of working for the aforementioned industries? What's the vision?
The vision is that, that having worked in the building industry for many years and in parallel working in free software, the building industry practices are just terrible. The people People send files an email. The file is called final version V2, final version V3. It's a complete disaster. We need to change the industry and make it and take advantage of all these tools that we've developed in free software.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to the naming of the files, final version 1, final version 2.
Yes. Okay, I'll stop screen sharing.
Yeah, that was very interesting, Bruno. Thank you
Okay,
very much for doing a talk on that.
Yeah, thanks for letting me appear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We saw a lot of comments in the channel, like people are glad to see this and that open source is going to change the world for the better. So I hope that your vision comes to life.
Yes, me too. I hope that it does.
All right, thanks so much for being here and all the effort you put into this demo here.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Emma, it looks like we finished our first set of sessions. And we're on to a short break.